in the room and the people that they are talking to. You will be glad to hear, I'm not going to be talking to you for too much longer. It's my job just to say a big and warm welcome to everybody for joining us, particularly Professor David Steinberg, who is the orchestrator of this session today, and I'm very glad that you have given us your time, David, and pulled together such an engaging and interactive session. So as those of you who are connected with the IoD will be aware, upskilling, reskilling, recruitment and retention continues to be the #1 issue for IoD members across sector, across industry in Scotland and beyond. And the purpose of this session is very much to start a conversation amongst our membership about some of the opportunities that exist out there to support the talent retention, talent acquisition and development of your staff members. I promised I wouldn't talk to you too much, so I'm going to stop right now and hand over to David, who I asked not to share his screen initially so we could see everybody when they joined. So David, this is your warning to now start sharing your screen. Thank you very much, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Catherine, and a good day to everyone. And I can see some very familiar faces on the screen. What I'd like to do is briefly introduce myself and then the group. I have been the Edinburgh Business School, Heriot-Watt University's Director of Graduate Apprenticeship Programs for 5 years. March was my 5th year. And it is a fantastic program. And I so enjoy working with the faculty, the staff, and the students. And I'm heartened to see that the group that I invited is here. So what I'd like to do is introduce each one of them just by mentioning a name, and then they can just briefly, if they could, mention the organization you work for. All right. So starting with Alexander, briefly, please.
Hi, yes, I'm the Political Affairs Assistant at the National Farmers Union in Scotland.
Wonderful. Gary.
Afternoon. My name is Gary Webb. I work for Skanska. I'm a facilities manager with Skanska.
Thank you. Laura.
Good afternoon. My name is Laura Fraser. I am from Forth Valley College and I'm the Business Transformation Manager.
Teresa.
Good afternoon. I work for Cashfac PLC and I'm the QA Director.
Thank you. Kim and Diego.
Hi, I'm Kimberly. I work at Celestia UK as the Office Administrator.
And I'm Diego, Operations Director here at Celestia UK. We are a company in the aerospace sector. We manufacture antennas for satellite communications.
Thank you. Lee.
Hi, I'm Lee Hodgson and I work in the School of Social Sciences at Heriot-Watt University as the Business Services Manager.
Jill.
Hi everyone, I'm Jill and I work alongside Lee and I manage the accreditation with our professional bodies.
Thank you. James.
Hi, I'm James. I'm Head of Business Transformation at Forth Valley College and I line manage Laura.
Terrific. And I can't discern whether we have any others on the call from our group based on the cryptic name. So if I miss someone, can someone step up, please? And just mention if they're there.
I'm just going to jump in very quickly, David, to say that our IoD Scotland chair, Julie Ashworth, is also on the call, but she's having audio and tech issues. So she is here, she is listening, she's just unable to contribute. So yeah, a warm welcome to Julie for joining us as well.
Warm welcome. We've got some guests as well. Can those who are on as guests, if they feel comfortable, can they just turn on their video or audio and just say hello, please?
Yep. Good afternoon, folks. Stephen Monaghan. I'm the project director at Skanska.
Okay, Stephen. Thank you for joining because I couldn't tell. Yes. Who else do we have out there, please?
Hi there. I'm Lynn. I'm from Star Refrigeration and I'm an HR advisor.
Thank you, Lynn. And do we have any other guests? There may be one or two. Okay. Very good. We've got the introductions out of the way. Here's how it's going to go today. Very interactive. Please have your mobiles to hand if you would. Have your mobiles to hand and standing by because we're going to be using a system called WooClap, which is a remarkable system for polling and for word clouds. And so what you'll do is, for those who've never used it before, turn on your camera And when you see the QR code that I'll show you in a moment, simply point it at the QR code, and then a URL will come up and simply accept it. So you point your camera at the QR code, the URL will pop up, you'll accept it, and then pause. That's all you have to do. All right, so, and we'll take a 10-minute break at the 12:45 period. You can't be online for any more than 1 hour before you scramble your brains. So we'll be taking a break, and I've got a timer on it. So at 12:45, I'll be interrupted by my own phone. So this is how this works, right? Okay, so let's connect to the system. I'll activate it and go ahead and connect it. Again, you'll see with your phone, you'll see a URL pop up, accept it, and then hold. And if you give me like a little thumbs up to say that all is good. I see Diego reaching across. That's cool. Okay, everybody's got it. Okay, looks good. All right, very good. All right, here we go. Okay, first question right out of the gate. So before this workshop, my level of knowledge of graduate apprenticeship scheme in Scotland was high, medium, low, or what the heck is it? High, medium, or low, or what the heck was that? So 75%, yeah, oh, creeping up. Okay, so they're, okay, it's changing, yeah. All right, so we've got, okay, we're still keep going. It's working nicely. This is almost like a test, combination test to see how it's working nicely. Very good. It looks like the majority, low indication before, which is fine. That's the objective today, is to raise the awareness of this remarkable program. And let's do that. Now, as Catherine mentioned, one of the primary concerns of members in IoD is upskilling, reskilling, and recruitment. And just to let you know that according to Boston Consulting Group, reskilling has become the strategic imperative for organizations globally with the rise of artificial intelligence. AI has also made upskilling, particularly core human skills, such an analytical and creative thinking, a business imperative according to the World Economic Forum. Innovation in work-based learning need not focus solely on micro-credentials and other short-duration learning opportunities. Business schools can provide accessible, practice-oriented education in the form of a full undergraduate degree program, with employers realizing an instant return on investment and learners transforming their careers while making a living. All right, so today I'm going to be covering the GA apprenticeship program, talking about our program at Heriot-Watt, but also generally talking about GA programs. And then I'll briefly talk about a new and exciting initiative, the Institute for Work-Based Learning at Heriot-Watt, which is emerging. And then we'll have a nice lengthy Q&A session to bring out the stories that I know we have in our group. And I've heard some questions just in case we don't have questions from those that are guests, right? Okay, we start with one of my favorite pictures. I don't know whether all of you have seen this that are pinned by past students, but these are the original 7 of the 8. The 8th GA is taking a picture, but these are the original 8. We called them the Magnificent 8. They were in the program 2017, 2018, when this first rolled out from Skills Development Scotland at the time. And so these are the originals. And you may recognize Sapta Das on the far right side, leaning her degree in it, because she came from Nepal and began to work with Scottish Water. And by the time she was done with our program, she could run for office. And that's one of the hallmarks of the GA program, the confidence that we build in our students. Students thrive in our Earn As You Learn scheme. There are 2 types of GAs we see: those that are straight out of school with maybe some Nat 5s, perhaps hires, but not always. And then there's the GAs that have been out of school for a long time, 10, 15 years, managing teams, career progressions. Most of them, according to the stats, 25 to 34 years old. Some bring first degrees in other disciplines. Others bring simply career progression. They gain confidence, as I said. Over the 4 years, you see people just blossom. They represent all of the public, private, and third sectors in Scotland, and many attain first-class honors degrees. In fact, we've got prize winners here that scored astronomically high on their final year assessments and their capstone projects, and won prizes at Heriot-Watt as well. All of them are superb time managers. It's one of the hallmarks of being a GA, right? Okay, here's just a quick look at our client base, and we just added a new one today. I am pleased to say that JP Morgan Chase will be sending us a few GAs in September, a remarkable achievement. I want to hats off to our business relationship manager and to all of the faculty that were involved with demonstrating that this program is quite unique. For those of you who would like to know where it is, it's on the SCQF level. It's level 10 honors degree level. We're right over here on this line here. And to give you a sense of what it's all about, it's known as an honors degree. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do is ask another question. So ready for this? If you were interested in a GA program, would you nominate a candidate from within your organization or hire a candidate or both? So would you nominate internally, hire, or hire both? Here we go. Here's the poll, and away we go. Okay, so we look like we're getting to a point where most would hire both. We have some that would nominate internally. And at this point, from the group that we have here, no one would hire externally, which is very interesting. It's one of the hallmarks, is the ability to nurture talent from within, keeping the role going while at the same time earning a 4-year honors degree. Again, this notion of having to go to micro-credentials and other credentials on the short-term basis isn't necessarily the only innovative approach, right? Program essentials. It's known as the MA Honors Business Management. It's delivered fully online for us. There are other organizations that do a hybrid model, but for us, we have students on Orkney Island. It becomes difficult for them to commute every Friday or for that release day. 4 days in the workplace, 1 day dedicated to the class. The hallmark, one of the key hallmarks, is the development of the individual learning agreement, which is developed within the first semester of the first year. And it's short, medium, and long-term goals, like a PDR, professional development review. And the students and the workplace mentors and the academic tutors come together, set it in stone, and then they update it every year. And that becomes one of the bedrocks of this program. Also, another element of the program is the employer support agreement, which is really critical because it's like a contract, and it covers such things as the release day and things like that. And that's, again, one of the hallmarks of any GA program. We have particularly experienced and dedicated faculty and tutors who have public, private, third sector experience. They love working with students that come to engage. Recognition of prior learning is a really important piece. Students can come in, they can apply for exemptions as long as they can take the learning objectives listed for the course and then pair it to their work experience, their career progression, their academic credentials. It's a very tailored process. Each student is different, and each student has to be looked at in that way. Scottish Funding Council oversees program seat allocation to universities and funding. Candidates apply annually to the funding process, and the funds are drawn via the UK government's apprenticeship levy. Employers with a payroll greater than 3 million pay 0.5% of the payroll annually into the levy. Employers receive a £15,000 allowance per annum to offset against the levy. Therefore, firms with a payroll less than 3 million are mainly subsidized. Employers pay GA candidates a salary dictated by market rather than government body. Skills Development Scotland, the Scottish Government's National Skills Agency, develops programs, frameworks, they're called frameworks, for degrees in disciplines such as business management, software design, data science, and engineering with guidance from industry, and then offers those frameworks to the employer, to the universities for consideration. Okay, back to the polls. If your employees could instantly transfer what they learn in the classroom on a Friday to your workplace on that following Monday, what would be your top learning priority for them? Here we go. If your employees could instantly transfer what they learn in the classroom on a Friday to your workplace on the following Monday, what would be your top learning priority? This is a word cloud. Go ahead and put some words in. What would it be? leadership qualities. Okay, here we go. Coming in fast. Communication, leadership qualities. Leadership is getting larger. Communication suddenly larger now. It's like a racehorse. It's like a horse racer. Communication even larger. Good. This is really helpful. Really helpful. So communication followed by, it looks like leadership, communication getting even larger. That's consistent with the research on this. Communication skills, the soft or strategic skills, followed by leadership, teamwork. I see collaboration and many other excellent skills here. Okay, very good. And communication stays. I think so. Communication definitely being. There we go. Okay, very good. Now, the return on investment for employers is quite significant and again, fairly instant. We call this instant knowledge transfer. No joke, whether the release day is a Monday or a Friday, the following work day, we often have heard both mentors and students say that they have been applying what they've learned in the classroom the following Monday or the following the Tuesday. So we mentioned the idea of confidence building. Closing the gap between experience and theory is one of the key things that I hear during the interview process. They've had maybe 10, 15 years of experience, but they've always wondered what their colleagues who went to get the degree, the undergraduate degree in business management, what do they know? Well, that gap closes over the 4 years, and then you've got that combination of theory and application and work experience at the same time. If there's one thing that one of our ScotGov graduates once said, I learned to ask the questions in any context. And that's really quite powerful, being able to be in a room where we're talking about finance, being able to ask the questions. If it's about intercultural issues, being able to ask the right questions. If it's about commercial law, asking the right questions. We often see, did not expect this, but we often see promotions en route to the degree. We thought that it would happen after the 4 years. Oh no, we have people that have been promoted once and oftentimes twice along the way. So that was exciting. We now have graduates that are becoming workplace mentors. Giving back and being able to have that perspective is priceless, to be able to help someone through the process after having been through themselves. The assessments of all, the homework, the work that we do, the things that are due, are all designed to create change agents within the organization. It's not just the tick box just to get the X credits. It's about developing and solving problems within the workplace and being change agents. And we've noticed something even more interesting, that this degree seems to ignite passion for lifelong learning, and people go on to do other degrees. Key types of relationships I want to talk about. First, the linear relationship. Well before students walk into classroom, the linear relationship between the provider, the university, and the employer needs to be there. And this is when the recruitment phase begins. And our business relationship managers work with particularly small organizations, because the larger organizations tend to have talent management centers to do this. But they work with it to develop the right specs for hiring, if they're going to be hiring for this, and so on. If this linear relationship is in place ahead of the first day of class, the student will have no trouble whatsoever moving through the process. After classes begin, the line becomes a triangle. And that's when the triangular relationship between student, academic tutor, and workplace mentor kicks into gear. And we never want it to go away. And we know how strong the structure of this triangle is. And what happens is at a minimum, students, tutors, and workplace mentors meet semesterly. So after each term, check in, see how things are going, and move forward. That's the same group that's developing the individual learning agreements, that PDR process that we talked about earlier. So if we have the triangle moving through the 4 years, we've got a strong process for support. The workplace mentor is a very special process. It's a very special relationship. It's a very special role. They're empathic. They learn with the learners. They literally look over their shoulders and learn with the learners. They're coaches. There's going to be highs and lows, like any degree. And they talk them through those highs and lows. They open the doors to the organizations. If it's a marketing course, open the door to marketing. If it's a legal course, open the door to legal. They network with other mentors for best practices. They meet frequently with their GA, at least once a month. I've known, particularly the NHS, to have every 2 weeks, where people meet every 2 weeks, which is really strong, but at least once a month. They defend the release day. There will be times, and my GAs will smile. They'll smile that where the work will begin to encroach on that release day, and gently the mentor has to help push back to remind the employer of the employees of the employer support agreement. We talked about the semester meetings, and they suggest the goals for the individual learning agreement. Okay. What does the program look like? Well, it starts out with some very introductory foundational courses that are critical to business management, from economics, finance, management, my business skills course, in which they learn design thinking, advanced questioning skills, and all kinds of things. The enterprise is looked at, IS systems, and then that first management project at the start of the summer, where they apply design thinking to solve a problem at work. And again, that's a good example of the change agency. Year 2, fundamentals of marketing, intercultural issues, which is a really critical new approach to seeing the organization, human behavior, the organizational behavior, core accounting, ops management, commercial law, and then the first of the 3 essays that are due to for the students to be able to tell what they learned and how they applied it to their workplace. Year 3, we have the suite of innovation, project, and strategic management courses. You've got the logistics and supply chain, which was once one of those courses everybody just shrugged their shoulders. Then after the pandemic, during the pandemic, the word supply chain was in every article, in every broadcast, and suddenly that course is hot. It's big time. And we realized that there is no organization that doesn't have a supply chain. Even the public sector has a supply chain. Research methods course, which sets the stage for the capstone, the business consultancy project, which helps students see their organization as a consultant would. And then you see the essay in summer, and then the final year. The international business course sets the larger scope, and then the managing and measuring performance, which is one of our core strengths at Edinburgh Business School. The digital marketing course, and of course that capstone project, which is a game changer. It's designed to have a look at your organization and to make sure that you are a change agent and developing a project that is, and we'll go into greater detail in a moment what they look like. Key piece is that we are CMI Management Leadership Level 5 diploma. That's the highest level you can possibly get for a GA program. And that means that it's for operational, divisional, departmental specialists. This diploma focuses on specific leadership areas, further develop recipients' personal management capabilities, decision-making skills, operational skills, as well as managing team dynamics. So we were very pleased to be accredited by CMI, and it's a nice win-win for everybody. Academic support is critical to this program. From the first-year writing seminar to the maths gym, academic tutors assigned, the staff-student liaison meetings, and we have at least 2 individuals, if not more, here today that were staff-student liaison. Talk about quality management, because at the end of each term, we meet with the liaison in a given year along with faculty, and we learn about the good and the bad about every one of the courses, and we are constantly, therefore, tuning up our delivery. Student Disabilities Office, we encourage students to go into the disabilities office, to be assessed, to have a profile, and to come and be part of our. We have many students in this category being neurodiverse, and they are remarkable students, and they should absolutely take part in this. Student Wellbeing Center is critical. The Services Center, the librarian, Marion Kennedy, does great things for us. The Canvas Resources, IT Help Desk, and finally the Capstone Supervisor in year 4. The capstone projects. These are, as I said, an opportunity to develop a project that is something that is going to be a game changer in the organization. And the topics, before I get to the topics, I want to ask a question. GA students design capstone projects to affect major change in their organization. What would be a topic for your GA to tackle? GA students design capstone projects to affect major change. So what would be a topic for your organization to tackle? Go ahead, into the word cloud. Let's see what you have. Net zero, right out of the bat. Climate, good. What else we got? That's interesting. AI, yep. Transformational strategic change. I know who said that. What else? Net zero again. Good. Productivity and efficiency. Right. If you're going to spend 60 credits, you might as well be involved in something that involves mixed methods, surveys, questionnaires. You're going in and you're going to change the way your organization for the better. HR processes. Excellent. All good. Let me show you, and we got work culture as well. I'll hold for just another 10 seconds. Digitization, integrating AI. Nice. And these become 3-semester projects. Let me show you what we have been doing in the past. The metaverse as a remedy for workplace isolation, a case study. Improving team performance with Scrum. Impact of redundancies on survivors. Dementia care village design. Impact of AI and controls automation. Implementation of digital systems. Menopause in the workplace. Continuous improvement. Technology implementation. Net carbon impact. And the list goes on. Every year, these projects get more and more interesting, and they are game changers in the organization. Now, before we begin to bring in the wider group here, I just want to talk briefly about what's next, because I'm working with a working group on what's next at Heriot-Watt University. It's quite interesting. It is the early stages of the development of an Institute for Work-Based Learning. I'm the chair of the work-based group developing the Learning Institute. It aligns perfectly with our university's heritage and our business school strategy, providing accessible, practice-oriented education to learners. The Institute will embed the generation, evaluation, and mobilization of work-based learning through engaged, interdisciplinary, and impactful research. Our Institute will build customized lifelong learning. It will co-develop and mobilize agile, practice-oriented, and accessible education for learners preparing for, throughout, and beyond work. And finally, it will be in partnership with communities of practice. Our Institute will advance and redefine policy, practice, and pedagogy of work-based learning through the mobilization of research and education. If you were to ask our Institute to conduct research on any topic, what would that topic be? If you were to be asking our Institute for Work-Based Learning to conduct research, what would that topic be? Let us know. Here we go. Positive impact of change agents in the workplace. Excellent. Positive, let's see, change management. Positive, let's see, upskilling through AI. Nice. AI again. It's a hot topic. It's going to be for a while. What others for research as it relates to impact on policy making, impact on development of new educational programs, Industry 4.0 integration, nice. See if there's any other thoughts. There we go. Return on investment of work-based learning. Yes, something, it can be even, yeah. Return on investment is another good one. Very good. Okay, time to bring in the gang. Time to bring in the group that is not only currently, we've got some, at least one current student and mentor from Celestia, Kim and Diego, but we also have alumni. And what I'd love to do is to first ask those that are participating in this from IoD Scotland to ask any questions you wish. And then I can transition to several questions to tee up. I know that Catherine also has questions as well. But let's just open up the floor and say to those who are guests today from IoD, what questions do you have?
I'm going to jump in, David, and ask a couple of mine as people are pulling their thoughts together. I was really interested and struck when you were talking about the fact that people can have promotions internally as they're going through the program, and I just wondered, is there, or what is the dropout rate? You know, if people change job or change role, you know, how does that affect their buy-in with the program? It would be quite interesting to hear from a student and an employer perspective how that's managed.
Okay, so we know that across Scotland, it's about 20%. And we know that life gets in the way, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with the program, and it can have to do with something associated with work or private life. And more often than not, it's a combination. So 10, 20%. And I'll open the floor to responses from those who have been through our program. Just you can raise a hand or you can simply turn on your audio, but go ahead and answer Catherine's question if you wish.
Hi, Catherine. Sorry, it's Laura. I just thought I would jump in and just give you kind of my experience. I had been in the college from 2011 and was asked to be part of, well, selected to be part of the leadership and management program in the college in 2018. And as part of that, I got the GA opportunity to start the course. From that experience, obviously life gets in the way. I was engaged and married during the program, and also went through a promoted post during my third into fourth year. So changed role from being a project support officer into the business transformation manager, where I was then had a team to line manage. So I suppose it changed kind of my dynamic in the organisation, and obviously as part of the qualification. But it is possible, obviously, as part of this programme, you do your profiles raised within the organisation. So naturally, more opportunities come your way. So probably from my perspective, it had a really positive impact in my career, and also being able to learn you know, and then implement it into my work role. So really gave me the confidence to take on that promoted post as well. So it's probably just a positive from my perspective anyway. Thanks.
Thoughts from other alumni? Thoughts from other alumni?
Hi, David. Can you hear me?
I can clearly.
Yeah, Susan. Yeah, I've got a similar experience where I was promoted twice actually. So when I first started, I was in an acting service manager role, and you know, as part of the sort of my individual learning agreement, one of my sort of mid to long term goals was to be able to achieve that post, you know, permanently, and I did that very early on. And because, you know, well, partly because of the work that I was able to contribute as part of the GE programme, then I was promoted again to operations manager. And I don't think that would have ever happened had I not been on the course, because it like, you know, it raised my profile, but it also was allowing me to contribute really effectively in all areas of the business, particularly in some of the major projects that we had going at the time. So it was a really positive experience, and I think, you know, I owe it to the programme that I'm in the position I am at the moment, because I wouldn't have had those opportunities otherwise.
Oh, Susan, good to hear from you. Other comments from alumni? Yeah, we'll go down. Alexander.
So yeah, I got promoted last year in February, but I had a positive discussion with my work to let me finish my degree before I got promoted as well. So like even that open relationship with my employer was quite handy as well, because I knew I had a big project to do as well. So I was like, I'm not starting a new job as well as doing a degree at the same time, especially in the final part of the year. So that was quite another thing as well. If you were to have somebody, like, it's obviously just having that open discussion to say, like, I'm happy to put myself forward for this job, but like, I'm not ready to start that job right now. So they were really thankfully they let me finish my degree, and then I started in August last year, even though I did the interview in February, and I'm still with the same company as well. But yeah.
Terrific. Lee.
Yep, exactly the same as Alexander. I had a promotion opportunity came along, but asked if I could finish my degree programme first. So I started my new role on 1st of August last year. And well, I'm not sure if it was because I was on the GA programme, but certainly I'm sure it helped.
How about if we hear from, if it's okay, Catherine, from some of the mentors regarding this question? Who would like to participate as a mentor?
I think, David, just in case you can't see, James has got his hand up. He's
Yeah,
ready to come in.
for some reason my eyes don't catch the yellow. It's one of these weird things. I don't know. So I apologize. I do see it now. James, my apologies. Go ahead and turn on your
That's
audio.
all right. Yeah, from my perspective, it was a big positive to see one of my team get fast-tracked in a way because of the program. Confidence after year two especially meant that we could see her progressing really quickly, and what she'd learnt on the course, she was actually put into day-to-day practice. So although I always imagined Laura getting the role she did, it came much quicker. And I think a lot of it was down to this program, David. So, you know, we've talked about this before on separate meetings, David. It had a huge impact for our organization.
Thank you. Thank you, James. Catherine, what other questions or do other people have?
I don't have any more questions in the chat, but a huge thank you to those that contributed there. That was incredibly useful, and I think I'm constantly thinking about the purpose of this recording, and I think that will be some really useful insight for future viewers of the recording. You talked, David, about the interview process. Can you give a bit more detail as to what that would look like and the time involved, kind of from a preparation point of view?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty informal. I interview every single candidate at this time. I want to see in their eyes. I want to see the reason why they want to do this. I want to hear the story. So we usually talk about how they first learned about the GA experience, the GA program, and what is it about the program that particularly interests them. Testing a little bit for their understanding of the structure. What courses are you particularly interested in? Would it be okay to be online as opposed to a face-to-face, again, because we attract students from all over Scotland. And then I asked that kind of big question: how is it going to change you? And I need to see, that there's a reason why you're about to climb this mountain, because it's not for every student. It's for those students that are high achievers and that are interested in working and learning at the same time. It's a different approach than just, and not saying that other students aren't working hard. They are working very hard, but they're residing on campus. They have a different life. It's an entirely different thing. So time management becomes critical. And that's the general types of questions. And then I typically ask, particularly for those that may not have the traditional hires, I ask for a writing sample to see where we are and what kind of support they're going to be needing moving forward. That's the typical interview.
Thank you. And one final question from me, and then I promise I will be quiet.
No,
there was a lot when you were giving your presentation about kind of the importance of self-directed learning and the fact that, students will be balancing a job, often full-time, on top of their studies. Yeah. And you listed all of the student support mechanisms and systems that were there, but what support is there to balance that workload, from an employer versus university point of view? How can the learner ensure that they are supported to balance what they ask is of them?
That's why we need the triangular relationship. On that one side, we have the workplace mentor. They're blocking and tackling in the workplace. The academic tutor is focused on the university piece. And then you've got the support mechanisms, and then it comes down to early intervention, looking for any subtle changes. That's why our specialist tutors, keywords, specialist tutors, are always looking for any kind of subtle changes from one meeting to the next. And so it's, in addition to having those layers, we put into place the human piece, tutors watching, instructors suddenly watching changes, your coordinators watching changes, and then of course I'm always watching for changes as well. If you don't have that, life can get out of balance fast, and it can begin to. So we really emphasize that it's a very personalized touch. Yeah, Catherine, did we cover that?
Brilliant. Yes, thank you. You did.
Okay. I would love to tee up some questions if there are. Have we? I just want to make sure I didn't miss any questions here. Could we have a cross screen share for purpose of recording? Okay, that's it. Okay. What I'd like to do is to tee up a big question first of all, for Diego, because he and Kim, they're active. Kim is an active student in the process. Diego is an active mentor. And how has your organization so far benefited from the GA program?
Yeah, thanks, David. Do you hear me okay?
Yes, very clear.
Good. So may I start a little bit before that, because I am really going backwards to 4 years ago. So for you to understand, Kim is in her 4th year with Celestia UK. So we you see the light at the end of the tunnel now. And I was going back to 4 years ago, and the selection process. I mean, I have to say it was outstanding, the support from the Graduate Apprenticeship Office and yourself, David, because at that point, I mean, Celestia UK is an SME, and we were ramping up, and we, as a small company ramping up, we had all sorts of problems, and I was thinking all the time, we don't have time for this. I mean, it's just not possible. I mean, we our priorities are as well. But somehow I got convinced by David and the support office, and really, at that point, I was also kind of like thinking, but what are the priorities? I mean, is there perhaps a conflicting conflicting priorities between the university and the program, and then the company's priorities, right? I mean, because we wanted to work, but then I wasn't really quite sure of this alignment, and I have to say, 4 years afterwards, that it has been outstanding. I mean, fantastic. I mean, it works fantastically well. And I don't know where the magic is. It must be, a question for you, David. I mean, you must have, some magic tricks somewhere, because I think this is very, very difficult. And I think, I mean, just looking at Kim, obviously, I remember when you started, and the emphasis that you often place on growing their confidence. I've seen it happening in front of my eyes, live, right? And again, it is outstanding. I don't know where the magic is, but it does work. And I have to say that that's, for me, something. Obviously, well, you were asking us questions before. I was one of the ones that wrote leadership, and looking at Kim, quite clearly, nowadays, every Monday, she brings leadership into the organization. So I'm very pleased that I was really, writing down something that I can see already happening. So I don't know if I'm sorry. It's probably a very long answer, but my point is that yes, you put your money where your mouth is, really. Happy customer.
Thank you very much, Kim. Thank you very much, Diego. Let's hear from other mentors, if we can, how the organization has benefited. If we have, perhaps James.
I'm coming in. That's all right.
Sorry, take your time. No, we got time.
I think we've benefited greatly from this as an organization, and I think there's several parts to that. It's good to see, as a manager, to see somebody go through the program and actually blossom all the way through, from somebody that probably wouldn't have got this opportunity probably elsewhere. And that's one of the benefits of the program. To get these opportunities is really difficult for people that are probably coming back to academia later on in life. Not saying Laura's old or anything, but they've had that break. But to actually have that support both at work and through yourselves is, I think, a benefit of the program, both to the individual and to the college. And to see somebody grow and start to get skill sets that actually impact in the workplace, and being able to put into practice straight away something that, if they'd gone through the normal route, they wouldn't have got to do until they got a place at work. So straight away from day one, they put things into practice. That's really the biggest benefit of this type of course, and this opportunity for an employer, actually being able to see the results there and then, straight away from day one.
Thank you, James. Instant knowledge transfer, we call it. Instant knowledge transfer. Thank you. What other thoughts from mentors before we move on to alumni and also Kim as well, who is a current student? Stephen.
If I could just come in there, if you don't mind.
Absolutely, Stephen, please.
From Skanska's perspective, we're really proud to have two first-class honours graduated back in June there, which I attended. And all through the programme, we've seen a development in Gary and Susan, and mainly in confidence, you know, but that assurance that the academia is behind them as well, you know, and as a result, they're on our high potential talent grid. And it was just great to see them blossom into the people we knew they could be. And that's continuing after the programme as well, which is, and the next phase will be professional memberships and the like. So it's just developing the personality and dealing with the pressure, because it's unsurmountable at times, and they dealt with that, and that's not to be underestimated, and that is part of the growing of the personality. So yeah, very, very proud of them and their achievements, and hopefully it's not the end for them. So, and the support was excellent from the university as well.
Oh, thank you, Stephen. Thank you very much. I promised you a break. Now, what do we want to do? Do you want to continue on with this Q&A, or do you want to take a quick 10-minute break? What's the consensus?
I'm maybe aware, David, people's time is quite precious, so maybe we could crack on and then finish a wee bit sharper, give people some time back.
You got it. Let me serve up some questions to our existing and our alumni as well, student. Thinking back over your degree program, what was a moment when you learned something in the classroom and instantly applied it to the workplace? What was that moment? Who would like to start? Tracy, you're smiling.
Yeah, I can think of quite a few times that happened. I absolutely love, just to say, I just absolutely love the program from start to finish. Every single, you know, different module we had something that we could apply to the workplace. And even though at times it was very trying, I just loved the way that you could straight away just be able to apply what you're learning in your current role, and just grow from that, and just see how, various things that just you probably wouldn't have come across just from day to day, but just getting that insight into certain things. I can't think of exact examples, but yeah, there were just, as I went along, lots of different situations where I could just apply, specifically over, let's say, line managing and overseeing people. Just I remember one of the modules was on human behavior as well as organizational behavior, both very helpful in working with teams and just understanding that actually, as humans, we are very much needing to be part of a team, a group, and also having that purpose in a job role as well. So yeah, all these different things just came to mind. But yeah, overall, absolutely amazing program, and yeah, I've really enjoyed every part of it. Although it was quite stressful at times, it was just, yeah, can't think of any negatives really.
Well, thank you, Teresa. I've got 3 hands raised. I'm going to go far left to start with Lee.
Hi, I think one of the first ones I noticed was the intercultural relations. Working at Heriot-Watt, we are a multicultural organisation, and that module really helped me understand my colleagues from across the globe. Also, one of the really valuable ones was, sorry, I've had a migraine the last 24 hours, so I'm a bit groggy. My voice is even groggy. But another one of the really useful modules was your one in first year, David, and especially the questioning techniques, which I use all the time at work. It really helped me understand how to get information from people that I previously never even considered. So, but as Teresa said, it's a fantastic program, and I have learned so much, and just think it's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Lee. Thank you very much, Laura.
Hi. So a number of courses within the programme spring to mind. Certainly for me, kind of having an impact in my role. I manage a portfolio of projects and obviously now various teams of staff. And in first year, the managed project was, it was really good being able to document, and I looked at digitalising manual practices. So it was really good and was making a positive impact in my organisation. I absolutely love business consultancy. I think probably David's sick of hearing me say that, but I really enjoyed business consultancy and looking at being the change agent and bringing in change and managing people through the change, and how you manage people's emotions and experience with change. And actually, I really enjoyed that so much that in fourth year, that's what I looked at, strategic change management for my capstone. And the capstone, being able to do a study right through from the start, right over your fourth year, meant that you could I had a positive impact. And actually what was really positive was the senior management were keen to find my findings and recommendations, and obviously networking with people within the course. So positive, like networking, sharing a good practice, and everything from the wealth of knowledge from obviously especially the lectures, but even the kind of honorary professors, so people that were out in industry that had 25 years experience in consultancy, and how I could kind of holster some of that information and understanding in their learning and experiences, and then adopt it into my workplace. So that had a really positive impact for me, and certainly I knew that the course was right for me, being away from study for a long period of time. So that's probably my experience.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Gary.
Yeah, kind of similar to Laura, I obviously work in construction, so a lot of the kind of courses I enjoyed was a lot of kind of more kind of operations management, strategic management, logistics and supply chain, as you mentioned. I done my capstone on net zero and the impact that has on construction industries and supply chain and stuff like that as well. So yeah, as everybody said, it's stressful. There's a lot to juggle when you're doing full-time employment and also the GA program. We were one of the our first year as well was impacted with the pandemic. So the second and third semester was impacted pretty heavily with the first COVID lockdown. So we had to move to RBL and responsive blended learning. So it was a juggle, but I made some good friends out of the course, still keep in touch, and yeah, really enjoyed it. Do you know what's funny? I was actually about that the other day. Going through the programme, for me personally, there was a lot of kind of subtle changes, and Stephen touched on there, more a confidence gathering, really, rather than any particular course that kind of springs to mind other than the ones I mentioned. But just being able to have a wee bit of sense of confidence to say that you went through something, you've done it, you achieved obviously a good mark and stuff like that was really kind of the kind of personal growth that I found was the biggest transformation again through the program. So
terrific, Gary. Thank you. Let's hear from Kim, who is an active fourth year student. What's your perspective on something that you learned in the classroom and instantly applied?
I definitely agree with some of the others that have commented. Everything has been really positive. I'd say my job role here has been quite broad in a sense, so I've been able to bring things from every module that I've been involved with, and it's really helped me understand why things work the way they work, why we do things the way we do, and everything. So yeah, I'd say everything's been really positive, and everything's had an impact.
Thank you, Kim. I'm conscious of time, so let's close with one final question to the students. Looking back, how have you changed as a person? How have you changed as a person? Starting with Lee.
Ooh, well, I believe in my own ability a lot more than I did. I set out on this journey and it definitely was a journey. It wasn't to get promotion or anything like that. As you can probably tell, I'm one of the more mature students. It was just a personal achievement, and what I have achieved throughout the process has been incredible. I've surprised myself, but it's helped me believe in myself, and apparently I'm an inspiration to my daughter and some younger female colleagues at the university. So that's me.
Thank you, Lee. Alexander.
Yeah, I think confidence building was a big part of it. As I know it's been mentioned quite a lot, but it's probably the main thing I would take away from the personal perspective. And also, even just like this is my first job still, full-time job. I started as a modern apprentice when I came straight from school at 18, and now I'm graduate alumni. And yes, I think that's just showcasing the amount of stuff I've learned over the years, like last 4 years. I don't think I would have learned it if I didn't do the degree as well. It's the same with the modern apprenticeship perspective. It's like, because you had to learn it for that perspective, you learn more about the company and learn about the environment. Like even looking at the environment I'm in within, it's political and agriculture, and that's something I did not know anything about prior. But the fact that I had to do a degree and write my assignments around everything within the environment, it meant I had to learn, and it just built my knowledge up completely. I mean, when I left school, 7 years ago, I didn't think I'd be doing what I'm doing right now. I was just basically admin before, but now somehow I'm doing politics, which I didn't think I'd ever be doing, which is very strange. But yeah, I think confidence is one of the main parts, and then just everything else in between learned a lot, that's for sure.
Thank you, Alex. Gary.
I just wanted to jump in. Obviously, a lot is about being the personal stuff now, but I think that going through the programme, I'm like Alexander. I've been with Skanska since I was 18 years old, so I'm 19 years in August with Skanska. I served my time as a modern apprentice as well. And what the programme does do is give you a sense of, it gives you a bit much more a connection to your organisation. Going through the programme, doing a lot of case studies, referencing your company. And one thing it did open to my eyes and Susan's eyes, who's my colleague, is obviously not here today, was it gives you a sense of, as I say, a connection to your organisation, but also it gives you quite a good impact as well, because a lot of the stuff we were doing and transferring, we were noticing that Skanska had these processes in place. So it made you feel quite comforted that Skanska as an organisation had obviously, hopefully, tried to cover all areas. And it does give you a wee sense of belonging to say, well, I'm working with an organisation who does think about these things, who's got a lot of these processes in place, maybe need to tweak it now and again. But it made me more proud to work with my organisation as well, going through the GA programme, which was good.
Thank you, Gary. Teresa.
Yeah, I don't want to sound repetitive, but definitely the confidence is one area that has definitely grown from my perspective, and also being able to see the bigger picture, I would say as well, because sometimes you can be quite siloed in certain areas of the company. I don't work for a very large company, we're small fintech, but it did definitely helped me see how different parts of the organization all fit together, and see the bigger picture as well, and now work a lot more closely with different stakeholders in the company as well, that to try and get things working a bit more efficiently as well. But yeah, I think that's probably the two main takeaways from me.
Thank you, Teresa. Susan, I'm conscious you're on the phone. Susan.
Sorry, I got stuck on you there. Yeah, so I think for me, the biggest change personally was I learned to kind of organise myself, and you had to be organised while you were studying, because it was to keep that work-life study balance. If you weren't organised, it was, for me personally, I would have just cracked up. So I've learned to become really quite organised and prioritise, and that's benefited both professionally and on a personal level as well. So aside from the confidence and the immense sense of pride and kind of getting the degree, is that you know, I can apply a lot of the knowledge. I think one of the other things, and it comes around that organisation, is that ability to research things. So when problems come up, and again, professionally or personally, the first thing I do is research about it before I come to any conclusions or present any you know, solutions at work. I do the research first, whereas before it wouldn't have occurred to me to do that as much.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Finally, but not least, Kim, active student. How have you changed?
I'd say, like everyone else has, confidence has definitely been the main change that I've seen in myself. Again, with time management, people often say to me they don't know how I managed to fit everything into one day or how I managed to get everything done on time. But I definitely think that's something that I've learned from this course as well.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to hand it back to Catherine, but before I do that, I want to thank you very much. Thank you, thank the IoD for taking the time to listen to this remarkable program and to hear it firsthand from mentors and from students, both active and past. Thank you, Catherine, back to you.
Thank you, David, and thank you to everybody who took the time to share their thoughts, comments and feedback. This has been such a valuable session for us, and I'm sure that there's going to be members who are going to be watching this recording back for a long, long time to come. Just if anybody has any objections, we'd love to be able to put people in touch with anybody directly that would like to follow up and ask questions if they're interested in finding out a bit more. David, we would absolutely kind of direct that through you, but genuinely thank you so much for taking the time, especially when everybody's so busy, and probably this is eating into everybody's lunch break. So hugely appreciate you taking the time to share your stories, and congratulations, good luck and well done to all involved. It sounds like a really fantastic programme, and it's been really lovely to hear from you all today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. See you later.
Yes,
Thank you.